Hi! On the woodpecker today? Yes, the bookcase is all finished. But while editing it, I figured out that it was way too long. And since I lost almost all my viewers, I don't want to lose you. So the end will be in two parts. I finished part 3 of the bookcase build with most of the pieces for the top part. But the central section is not fixed in place. After placing it exactly where it should be, I trace its position. By using the same position as the shelves, I mark the grooves I'll have to make for the knockdown joinery. I make sure the lines are visible on both pieces. Then I disassemble it, transfer the lines on the bottom of the vertical panel, and cut the grooves. I make the lines longer on the horizontal surface because it's important to see them very clearly. And just like last time, I use a rail to guide the router when I cut the grooves. When it's done, it's possible to glue the knockdown joinery in place. When the 4 are in place, it's possible to glue the mating part in the vertical panels. Next, we put it back in place. One thing I can say is that it's very satisfying to see how easily and sturdily this goes together. But I still need help from René because we need to put the long top stretcher in place again. Now I can drill the holes to screw the stretchers to the central section. To do so, I drill a big shallow hole to the depth of the assembly screw's head. Then a hole the size of the screw. And finally, a smaller pilot hole on top of the central vertical divider. Then I can screw in a screw. I have to repeat this 3 more times. On top of keeping the stretchers straight, this will lock the sides in place because there isn't a pack yet. Now I can begin to work on the 6 glass front doors. First thing to do is to prepare some wood. Now that I have enough wood, I still need to cut it to the right length. I begin with the 12 rails. When it's done, it's time for the stiles. But for them, I do this differently. After cutting one side straight, I pile them all in a line and make sure they won't move. And in one swipe, I cut all of them. Then I assemble them one by one and mark where to drill the domino mortises. To make sure they're all at the same place, I use some setup blocks. Then it's time to cut the mortises. Eventually, I have all the wood for the 6 doors, but I need to cut a rabbet for the glass pane. The rails are easy enough, but for the stiles, I need some steps, so I made this. It's not pretty, but it gets the job done. I cut all the rabbets on the stiles like this. And now I can glue the doors. After gluing 3 of them, I can see that I don't have enough clamps for the rest. So I take this opportunity to help René apply some preservative on the pool deck. When we're done, the glue is dry enough so I can use the clamps again to glue the remaining 3 doors. The next day, I make all the corners square. This is not too difficult, but each corner takes several minutes to do. Since I have 24 to do, this takes a lot of time. But even if I'm done, I can't install the doors yet. Maybe you remember that I had to add a spacer at the bottom to screw the door hinges. Well, I have to do something similar for the upper part of the bookcase. But according to Fred's drawing, he wants the possibility to have 2 different sizes of glass shelves. So I decided to fill in the hole with a solid panel. When I have enough wood, I glue them 2 by 2 and let the glue dry. When the glue is dry enough, I resurface the glue ups. Then I glue 2 panels and leave this to dry overnight. The next day, with the drum sander, I make this the right thickness. Then I sand the showing face with the orbital sander. Then it's time to cut the first panel. I take the height measurement directly on the bookcase. Then I redo all this on the other side. Now I can try this in place. It's almost there. I'm going to plane one side, but at a small angle. This will help when I will push it into place. Now that I can see that it's perfect, it's time to glue it in place. By gluing it directly on the plywood, I'm making sure that the panel won't move with the changes in humidity. I only need to put it in place and add a bunch of clamps. As you can see, I added some shims in the center to apply pressure there. Now I need to do the same thing for the other side. Here they are. I just need to wait for the glue to dry. And with a temperature like this in the shop, this won't be long. Next, I need to sand everything flush with the sides. And it's here that I realized that my earlier sanding was unnecessary. Then it's time to reassemble the bookcase. The next day, I can trim the two first doors to the right height. When I'm satisfied, I can trim them to width. The first two doors. I have to redo this again for the remaining four. Here they are. Not bad. I have to drill the holes for the hinges now. When all the holes for this side are done, I move the stop and drill the other side. Then the middle holes. But all those holes are for inset doors. I need to move the fence for half overlay doors and drill the rest of them. Then I can drill for the screws. To install the door in place, I clamp a piece of wood. On one side, it's butting on the side, and on the other, I make sure it's the same distance as the side. Then I have to make sure the door won't move. At the bottom, I add a spacer and clamp the door. At the top, I use a scrap piece of plywood and two clamps. I make sure the door is resting on a shim, and then I can mark the screws placement. To drill the pilot holes, I remove the door. After screwing the other part of the hinge in place, I can put the door in place. I do this for the 6 doors. But now I have nothing to hold the doors straight. I take care of that right now. When I have the 3 stoppers, I just need to glue them in place, so the doors will end up flush with the top stretcher. While the glue dries, I can take care of the glass quarter round stoppers. I begin by routing a round over on 4 corners of a piece of wood. Then it's just a matter of cutting the corners on the table saw. This is after the vertical cut. I need to make the other one. Now I have a bunch of quarter round moldings, but it's not enough. I need more. But first, I need to get rid of that. I want all my moldings to be the same size, so I don't move the fence. But this doesn't remove this. Now that it's smooth again, I can make more quarter rounds. After a while, I have enough. Now I need to cut them to length. The first thing I do is make a holding jig. It's quite easy. I just cut a groove in the center of a scrap piece to the size of a quarter round. See, now the molding fits inside this channel. Then I do the best I can and make a cut at 45 degrees using a square. With this jig, I can cut the moldings. I cut them a little bit longer and fiddle the length on the sander. Then, when one is done, I cut another one. When the four are cut, I label them, so I'm sure they will fit perfectly in this door. In the end, I have all the door's moldings. I still have a bit to do to complete the bookcase, so if you want to see it all finished, you'll have to come back to the woodpecker.